Hey guys, Ryan the Nerd here, and welcome back to Riley Ranks Movies and is totally not biased. These videos of tier lists that I do are for people that are arguing on Twitter about which movie from this animation company is great, which movie is mid, which movie is complete garbage. The reason why I make these tier list videos is that for everybody that watches these videos can collectively and consciously agree that this is the right way to rank movies so that everybody can stop arguing about which movie's bad, which movie's good. I've decided to take it upon myself to do that, though, so you could thank me later when you agree. And everybody can agree that this is the right way to rank Blue Sky Studio movies. Now, Blue Sky is one of those animation companies that are kind of in the shadows. You know, you've seen a lot of their movies, but you always think to yourself, Ice Age is probably made by DreamWorks or Disney or something, and then somebody in the back is like, no, Ice Age was made by Blue Skies, and then you're like, oh yeah, Blue Skies! What other movies have they made? And then you're like, oh, it all makes sense now. But I think Blue Sky deserves some recognition here because they've gotten hammered by Disney over the years. They completely shut down, and they haven't, gotten, the right respect that they deserve. So that's why I've taken upon myself to rank Blue Sky Studio movies. Now, enough rambling, let's get on to the tier list. The first movie on the tier list is Robots. Now, this is a childhood movie. I'm gonna put it in all right. I really like the world building that they have in this movie. I really like, the overall uniqueness of the entire thing about how Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor himself, is just a wannabe inventor, and then it's also kind of has some political aspects if you remove the layers, so to speak, and it also kind of fits in today's, world of, politics and everything like that. This is not a politics channel, by the way. I'm just telling you that when you watch this movie, you can point out, be like, hey, that's kind of relevant to what's going on in the world right now. So then you can kind of point at that. So I really do like, how not outdated, but how unique it was for their time and everything like that. And I really do like, the jokes and everything. Robin Williams, rest in peace, is also really great. There are some, fart jokes in there and everything like that. But overall, I would say that's an alright movie. It's not, it's not God tier or epic or even bloody nice, but it's an alright movie. Now, Ice Age 4. I was not really a big fan of this movie when it came out, and I do really like the animation and everything like that, but rewatching it, I can be like, it's an alright movie, but it's not going in front of Robots here. It's going behind Robots, but it's an enjoyable movie. You're not getting anything, special from it or anything like that, but you are getting, the bare minimum of what, you're gonna get from an Ice Age movie, or an Ice Age sequel, I should say. But you pretty much know what you're gonna get. Manny and the gang get separated, and there's Scrat causes the continents to drift. You see what I did there? Anyway, but it's an alright movie. It's an enjoyable movie, but it's nothing, up here with whatever movies are going to be up there. So, Ice Age 2, The Meltdown. This is a bloody nice movie. And it's going in the bloody nice tier list, tier section right here, is because I really like it, because after the second movie, the sequels kind of dipped down. Not in quality, but just storytelling in general, because I felt like Blue Skies had a story, a story that they wanted to tell throughout the sequels, but they just kind of got, other directors that have their own visions of what the sequels should be and everything. But I like how the sequel to Ice Age actually continued about, Manny's emotional, damage from losing his family in the first movie, and also having to struggle with that, because when he meets Ellie, he's kind of pushing down his emotions of liking her just because he's so guilt-ridden, and he doesn't want to move on from his family and everything like that. So I can really give this movie some credit about evolving Manny's story, and it's also kind of a movie about letting go your guilt and everything like that, and moving on from the tragedy in your life. So I really do like the overall, message that they're trying to give out and everything, and I like how they evolved Manny's story after the movie anyway, because it's a completely forget Manny's arc. But I like how they tried to get Manny's arc to try to go somewhere, but as we all know, the arc didn't go anywhere. So, but it's a really bloody nice movie. I really like how there's no actual villains in the movie except for like those two fish, but whatever, you can forget about them. I just really like how it's just the gang running away from a flood that's happening because of climate change and everything like that. So it's just it's a threat that you can't beat, and that's what I really like about that, because with the fish and villains and everything like that, you know that the characters are going to overcome it and beat them and everything, and probably possibly die in the process of, rocks falling on them or anything like that. But I like how in this movie, you know that they are going to escape, but it's nature. You can't escape what nature has planned for us, So I really like how the overall flooding, event is taking place in the movie. So I really do like that. Now, and if you don't know, we do not use the B word during these movies, the biased word, so to speak. So, the Ice Age is Blue Sky's first movie that they made, and it's a really it's God tier. That's all I have to say. It's God tier. We didn't have cable when I was growing up. I would just rewatch Ice Age, the first movie, over and over again. I can pretty much memorize the entire script at this point. I could probably even type it out if I really wanted to. And that's how much I memorized the goddamn script. I can literally just quote the most random pieces of dialogue from this movie and nobody would get it, but most people, like my family, would understand those quotes. So, but anyway, I really do like the first movie. It's a really it's nothing, too unique. It's nothing, over complex or anything. It's just a simple story of them trying to deliver a baby. But there's some really great character development from Diego and everything like that. The comedy is still slaps. It still lands perfectly well today. It's just a really overall great movie, and I don't see why people are hating on the baby so much. But the baby's fine. Come on, no child abuse during these videos here. We do not support child abuse. Epic. Now, I don't want to go too in-depth on my opinion about this movie because I am planning on doing a video about the movie in a separate video on its own. So I don't want to go too in-depth about my overall opinion about it, but I did create the epic tier just to put the epic movie in there. So you could say that it's an overall epic movie. You see what I did there? Because the movie's called Epic. Rio 2. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't remember much about this movie. I've seen it a long time ago, and I don't remember anything about it. But I do remember the message of deforestation and everything like that. But overall, I really don't remember anything. But I do. It's an alright movie. But I don't want to go and be like, oh, it's complete garbage or I've never seen it. That's not true at all. So I'm just gonna put it in the alright tier. Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs. The B word is trickling in my mind right now, but I'm putting Dawn of the Dinosaurs and Bloody Nice, and that is the reason because after Ice Age, after the first Ice Age movie and all the sequels came out, you can say whatever you want about the Ice Age sequels. You can either love them, you can either hate them, you can be in between, but at least that we can all consciously agree that they're at least having fun with the goofiness of it, because Ice Age: The Meltdown, at least it's a giant flooding, and it's perfectly natural, and it happens a lot all the time, so it's a reasonable thing. And then you have Dawn of the Dinosaurs, where dinosaurs live underground and everything like that, and then you also introduce Buck, which is one of the best Blue Sky Studios characters ever. I actually scratch that, best animated character in history. I'm calling it right here. It's Buck is getting the golden platinum badge of best animated character. But the B word is trickling in my mind right now, and it wants to escape my mouth. But I'm putting it in Bloody Nice because at least that they're having fun with it, and also because Rudy is just one of the best dinosaur villains ever. Because we haven't had a great dinosaur villain in a while. So I'm glad that they introduced Rudy of being just a pure menace, but also not just being a mindless killing machine. He actually has personality, and I like that he has connections with Buck, and that's the reason why Buck is in the dinosaur world and not going up above, because he's just that's the only thing that can give him give him some spice in his life, so to speak. So I'm really glad that they kind of introduced Rudy and Buck, and their dynamic and everything is really nice. And I really do like how, Manny gets a child and everything, but they completely ignore the whole family dying for the first movie. But like I said, at least that, Manny's arc is kind of complete in the third movie because he has moved on and then he starts a new family. And it should have been the end of the franchise, but no. Ice Age, Collision Course. I'm putting this in the complete garbage tier. I hate this movie. I actually hate this movie. Instead of, being goofy and, having a little bit of fun with it, they were just hungry for that sweet, sweet cash. They were just hungry little hippos, so to speak. It boggles my mind that they completely ignored everything from the other movies. They completely ignored everything. For some reason, we can shoot a meteor with using other meteorites from destroying the planet, and then, completely ignoring Rudy's existence, even though that he was in a cameo in the first movie. But no, we're gonna throw him away. We don't even know who that is. And the only good part about this movie is Buck, honestly. The jokes land when he's actually just being himself, but everybody else who tells jokes are just completely, they just don't land at all. But I will give the movie some credit. The animation is also really high quality, but that doesn't really do you much good if there's no actual good storyline. It's just boring. It's boring. And at least that Scrat's having a good time, destroying the universe in a UFO and everything like that. God, I hate this movie. The Peanuts movie. Now, since the Peanuts haven't been relevant in many, many years, they haven't had, a comic strip, they haven't had a cartoon in forever, so when this movie came out, people rolled their eyes and be like, okay, we all get the Peanuts, but why do they have to make a feature-length film for the movie? But it's a really, really bloody nice movie. That's why I'm putting it in the bloody nice category tier. It's at least that the characters are still the same. They're not, trying anything new with the characters. They're not giving them story arcs or anything like that. And I really do like how they kept the Peanuts style and the overall cartooniness. And since the Peanuts is a 2D and a 2D cartoon and comic strip and everything, so I really like how the characters actually work really nicely in a 3D world and a 3D landscape and everything like that, and it also has a really nice message to it as well. This is a really bloody nice movie, and I'm glad that it did turn out as good as it was, because it could have been, another cash grab, but I'm glad that they had a lot of heart and a lot of, thought went into it, and they clearly had some passion about, the Peanuts, the Peanuts franchise and everything like that. So I'm really glad that they made this movie, and I'm really glad that they stuck to the original roots of the Peanuts and what made the comic and the cartoon so, popular and so stood the test of time. So I'm really glad that they made this movie and stuck with it. Spies in Disguise. We all know that Blue Sky Studios got shut down because Disney decided to drop the hammer on them. But I'm really glad that they went out with a bang. I'm really glad that they went out with a bang here. Spies in Disguise is a really, really original movie, and I'm glad that they didn't make another Ice Age sequel. It could have been another garbage Ice Age sequel, or it could have been good, but who knows. But I'm really glad that they made another original movie before they went out and sadly, got lost to the test of time. They got Thanos snapped out of existence. So I'm glad that they made this movie. And it is a really, really stupid idea of, spies turning into pigeons. And it also kind of works with, the conspiracy theory about how pigeons in the real world are just government spy drones. So I really like how they introduced that. And the voice acting is actually really nice. And I like how they also had some really, rubber hose animation going to it. They had some really great, uniqueness to the overall style that they were going with. The action is really, really outstanding here. And I also like how there's actual lore to it about, Lance and the villain's backstory with each other, because you don't know much about the villain's backstory. All you know is that, Lance during caused something to happen to him, something called Kyrgyzstan, or happened in Kyrgyzstan, a place called Kyrgyzstan, or something like that. So there's a lot of lore behind it. So you're kind of left in wanting more, and I'm really sad that they didn't make a sequel, because they were really trying, or it seemed like they wanted to make a sequel, but we all know that never came to fruition because Disney dropped and Thanos snapped them into obscurity. So I'm glad that they made this movie, but it also has some, really touching moments, and there's actual lore, and it keeps you guessing, it keeps you wanting more, so I'm really glad that they decided to make this movie their last movie before they disappeared and never to be seen ever again. Ferdinand, I've never seen it. I have no interest in seeing it. All I know about it is that John Cena voices a bull. That's all I know. That's it. I have it's Bull Cena. Horton Hears a Who. This is probably one of the most faithful adaptations of Dr. Seuss's stories, and it's not bloody nice. It's a bloody nice movie. I'm actually gonna rearrange this right here. There you go. That's where Horton Hears a Who should be. That's where it's gonna be right here. The Jim Carrey is just really great as Horton. There's some really great comical aspects. The jokes still really land, and I really like how they just went completely out of date with the anime reference. It still cracks me up in like the most unironic way possible. It's so weird and goofy at the same time, and I'm glad that Katie, the little yellow furball, is becoming a meme, or became a meme, so I'm really glad they decided to make, I'm really glad they decided to make this movie, and it's better than Illumination could have done, I'll tell you what. Rio. This is a god tier movie. I am a huge fan of the first Rio movie. There's so much uniqueness to the entire thing of placing, tropical birds in in a city, in a country that many people don't really know, but I'm glad that the city is actually becoming a tourist attraction, mostly because of this movie here. And I'm also glad of, like, the message of, endangered species and everything, how we should protect them and everything like that. So I'm really glad about this movie. And this movie just has so much charm to it. There's so much jokes. There's so much, relatability to it. And there's just so much, character with all the side characters and everything. They all get an equal amount of screen time. The villain, Nigel, is also just a really great villain. You can really tell that everybody in this movie is just having a blast. And I'm glad that it's not trying to be anything, overall, complex, or, trying to be something that it's not. They stuck what they were trying to do, and I'm glad that they stuck with it. And I just really like this movie. But anyway, this is the right way to rank Blue Sky Studios movies. If you're ever wondering what Blue Sky Studios is, or you're just realizing that Blue Sky Studios actually existed, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the guys that made the Ice Age movies, I'm pretty sure. These are the right way to rank the movies. This is how you should rank them. This is how everybody can collectively agree of which movie belongs in which tier. There's not much else to say about it, except that if you don't agree with this tier list, you're automatically wrong, and that you should be exiled from your homelands, and that you should, I was going to say slave labor, but okay, never mind. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't care what you do, but you guys know what time it is. So, bye guys.